Hello and welcome to the podcast Humans of Growth, where we talk about the stories and strategies behind business growth and development. I'm your host, Allie Hathcock, and today's episode is sponsored by Parison Studios, the new way for businesses to get connected to marketing support. If you're looking for a marketing agency but don't know where to turn and Google isn't giving you the right answers, come to me and I'll get you hooked up. Today's guest is Jorge Vasquez. Jorge started his career as a financial advisor before he transitioned into real estate. He's now the CEO at Greystone Investment Group. Jorge, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ali. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Jorge, I introduced the professional side of you, but every person has two sides. You have the professional side and you have the personal side. Who are you as a human? Tell me about you.
So you want to know my boring side? Okay.
I love it. I'm here for that side too.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I got to Florida in 1993. So I've been here now 33 years. I'm married. I have 3 kids. I'm a workaholic. I love basketball. I love a lot the Puerto Rico national basketball team, and I'm obsessed with the real estate. What else
Okay,
can
I love it. What's your favorite thing about your family?
The best thing about my family, everything, that they accept me by who I am, that they want to hang out with me, even though all I want to do is talk about real estate. My family is my center. It's what I do this for.
I love it. So let's go back in history a little bit, about 20-ish years or so ago now, back to about 2005. Tell me how you knew, what were the signs that it was time to go from being a financial advisor and pivot into real estate? And what did that look like for you?
So that's a good question. You see, I was the first kid from high school with a house. So I knew early on, when I was 18, I knew early on exactly what I had to do. Okay, I knew I was going to buy my uncle's house. I knew I had to have a job for 2 years, and I was going to buy my first real estate. Can I tell you the huge parties that we did since I was the first kid in high school with a property? You can only imagine. So then I started buying rental properties on the side. I got my securities license. I became a financial advisor for a bank that used to be called Wachovia Securities.
Okay.
The bank is no longer around, but and I started doing very well, of course, on anything I do. I'm usually a top performer. But some of the clients that I was selling annuities to, that I was selling stocks to, mutual funds to, they started asking me, what about the real estate stuff you're doing on the side? And believe it or not, what happened, this is very interesting, Ali. The beginning of social media started coming, the MySpaces of the world, even before Facebook was a thing. And I managed to talk to clients about 401ks and real estate for a little bit of time, until my broker dealer found out that I was doing that through MySpace.
Okay.
And the broker dealer said, no, you gotta pick a lane, real estate or financial advising. I was like, I tried to wing it for a little longer. I remember making that decision was the toughest decision, because I love helping people with 5 to 9 plans and 401ks, as much as I love helping people set up their retirement through real estate. So it was a very hard decision for me, but social media made it easier because I couldn't talk about it. So that's when I transitioned to real estate and never looked back. Of course.
So you were doing real estate deals starting on MySpace before traditional social media became a thing.
Well, not necessarily, but I was marketing my company. Hey, come here, and I'll advise you the best way I can. I just wanted to help people, whether it's they only have enough money for a 401k. Let's start some sort of a $50 a month type of investment, or let's buy some real estate. So I genuinely wanted to help people, but my broker dealers, I don't know if you know anything about the laws when it comes to broker dealers. They usually the only want you to talk about stocks and mutual funds and securities. So the minute that they saw, because my wife back then was a broker, so the minute that they saw in social media things were a little commingled, they were they were very tough on me. Like, listen, you gotta pick a lane. And unfortunately, I had to let go of my securities license and keep real estate.
It sounds like real estate has worked out pretty well for you, though.
It has its ups and downs. I lost everything in 2008, including my marriage. I was pretty much homeless. Hate to admit it, but almost suicidal, actually. Um, but I bounced back, and today I probably have $15 million worth of real estate.
I love it. So let's rewind back to 2008. Real estate market crashed badly. We're all familiar to some degree. Tell me, we're not in 2008, but times are hard, times are rough. How did you take 2008 and use it as a floor to bounce off of?
Well, I mean, I remember as if it was yesterday, December 2007, the last investor bank saying this is the last stated loan. In other words, the last loan that we could do without verifying income. I remember like it was yesterday. And I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do for investors now? There's no income verification type of loans. In 2008, I have 45 short sales where banks back then the banks were not didn't have the experience that they have now, so they didn't know they were not flexible with the prices. They thought that the prices had not gone down too badly, and so having a short sale, it was a waste of time. I remember I didn't get one phone call at all in 2008, and I had like 45 listings. But when I finally picked up myself, and by the way, when I lost everything, I went to an investor friend of mine that I actually owe money to because we had done a deal together and I had belly up. And I said to him, hey, can you lend me $10,000? I want to restart this thing again. I know what I did wrong and I know how to do it right next. And then the next time around, it was not, living under my means, no BMW, no nice house. I live in my own rentals and my own investment properties. But the lesson that I got out of it is I need to create a recession-proof business. I need to create something that no matter what the cycle that I'm in, I'm able to survive it. And that's where kind of like Greystone was born. A company that does everything from selling, buying, managing, rehabbing, renting, and of course finding properties for our investors.
I love it. How did you know what would be recession proof and what wouldn't? Tell me kind of like about the decision making process that was going on in your brain.
Well, I knew that being a property manager wasn't as sexy. And of course, in the early 2000s, I was on my late 20s and I thought that I knew everything.
Okay.
And I was going for the sexy type of transactions, the flips, the assignments. But I knew that property management and getting involved with rentals would give me more cash flow. It was more predictable. I wasn't gonna become rich overnight, but the cash flow could exponentially go up every month. And as long as I could keep the sales to make the business survive, I knew eventually I could get PM to cover my bills. And I still have the same car I bought in 2008.
Okay. Still running?
Yes,
I love it.
I don't buy any tennis shoes. I don't buy any clothing. If it's not real estate, I'm not interested in. So that's some of the changes that I did with time.
I love that. What's the thing you wish you could go back and tell yourself 10 years ago?
Here's a paradox, okay? There's two outcomes that could happen if I were to make two different decisions. One, instead of giving up on the 22 properties that I lost, if I would have given it, if I would have been a little more persistent and be like, okay, let me talk to the banks that are willing to modify the payments for me. Maybe I could keep the properties longer. Those same people that saw their prices go down, crash, are now sitting super pretty with properties that are worth close to $1 million. So in one end, I will say, Jorge, try to hang in there. And the other end, I will say, do not live beyond your means, and don't think that money. As you know, at one point I had $300,000 in the checking account. I traveled the world twice. I had two BMWs. I had bought $1 million home back in 2005, and I had 22 homes. So I thought I was invincible. So I would say to myself, son, you're not invincible, and just pace yourself. That's what I would say.
I love it. What? Okay, you mentioned traveling the world. Tell me more about that.
You know, when you're started making too much money early as a real estate consultant, 30, 40, $50,000 a month. Um, and it was too much money for me at 20 some years old. Um, and I and then I would travel all over. I opened up an office in Manhattan, opened up an office here. I went to Europe 4 or 5 times, South America, all over the place, thinking that the money wasn't gonna run out. Um, but it did. So yeah, so now I do road trips. Now I owe like $50 million worth of real estate, and I go from Florida to Georgia. That's it. No, I'm just playing. I'm playing, but I keep it pretty conservative, you know.
Yeah. So you also own. Is it all within Greystone Investments, or is it separate, different entities?
So I own a Greystone Investment Group with
Okay.
another partner. As a matter of fact, that's one of my investors that said to me, Jorge, after I sold him 25 properties, he said, Jorge, this is a concept. You know, wholesaling has a bad reputation, the way that you put it together, where you provide a prospectus to a property. Because I was doing prospectus and projections prior to even bigger pockets. Like I was the pioneer of some of those cap rate calculators, even before bigger pockets. So he said, I like the concept. Here's $1 million, and that's how we took Greystone to the next level. But Greystone Investment Group has is the parent company, and we have Greystone Real Estate with 50 agents. To be an agent within our brokerage, you have to be an investor too, because we don't do retail. Believe it or not, I suck when it comes to open houses or the basic. I suck, but if you're an investor and you know how to deal with investors, private lending, etc., you're working on that brokerage. We also have a lending division, lending gig. We came up with that name, lending gig, because everybody has a gig, and I feel like it will relate to the youth and it will work. So we do lending gig, but it's lending towards investors mainly.
Okay.
And we have a property management company and an off-market company. And aside from that, I own like 3 or 4 different companies that hold assets, about 40 properties.
Okay. So you're the real estate tycoon, is what it sounds like.
Not really. I still have mortgages on all of them,
Okay.
but I do have maybe net $3 or $4 million. Hopefully, I'll get there. I'm still young, 47, so hopefully I'll get there.
I love it. So tell me more where your agents are investors. Tell me how you built your team.
It's been very painful. I have 50 agents, but I've cycled thousands. And at the beginning, because it's very hard. Actually, the brokerage model is very difficult to break through, like to make money on that brokerage model. Because if you want to be like the co bankers of the world and provide education, so you can have a more substantial split with the agent, you're gonna compete with the big players, and I can tell you that's gonna be very difficult. Okay, and if you do the discount brokerage model, you also have big companies that give everything through the window for $50 closing, or $100. So it's very difficult. So it took me eons of years to figure out I don't want to be cold banker. I don't want to be the discount brokerage. I want to be a niche brokerage. Because here's the paradox, Ali. I could have every single agent I got, all 50 of them, sell something today, and I might collect a office fee. Or I could have one of those agents say, hey, Jorge, I found this property, let's flip it, and we make $100,000. So I make more money on a JV with one agent than the office does the whole year.
Wow, that's impressive.
Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah, totally. Okay, Jorge, you mentioned that you had a story from your life as a financial advisor. Tell it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like any day, like any regular day. I'm at the office. Of course, I'm in my cubicle office, you could call it, at the bank. And this lady walks in wanting to do a wire of $35,000. and we're asking her, who is this money? And by the way, we've known this lady for a long time. We know that she doesn't do any big transactions. But she all of a sudden had a boyfriend that was some prince of Nigeria. And no matter, Ali, no matter how many times we said to her, this is not real, she was completely hooked to this guy and got upset, called the police. It was her money, and this guy needed it right away. But at the end of the day, we didn't do it. But we saved this lady $35,000. Crazy, huh?
How did you convince her not, like, when I'm assuming she was older?
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't convince her. We just didn't do it. We didn't convince her. She was pissed, and she's like, "Have my money," and we just didn't do it. We couldn't do it. And but then she came to the bank later, a few weeks later, and said, "You guys were right. I'm so sorry. You saved me 35." But yes, she was upset. She wanted to do it, and that's not the only one. Here's another one. I put my car for sale, and I get this check sent to me, and the guy calls me. It's like, "Hey, listen, I know your car is for $13,000, but I wrote a check for 15 for my previous sale that didn't go through. Can you just take my $15,000 cashier check and give me the difference back?" And of course, I knew it was a scam. But check this out. Check what happened. Okay, I actually did sell the car to somebody that had the similar name, and so when and this happened on a Saturday. You know how banks open from 9 to 12 on Saturdays? Half a day. So I get a call from my colleague. She's the head teller, and she said, "Hey, there's a check here for like $14,000. And I was like, "Oh, that's probably from my legit buyer." Because I didn't think nothing of it. Because I was very obvious with the communication I had with this guy. I was obvious that I knew what he was trying to do. Because I said on the last communication, I said, "Hey, I'm a banker, by the way, but go ahead and send the check." Sure. But guess what? The teller deposits the fraudulent check, thinking that it was the legit check. And before I know it, I have the entire fraud department from the bank in my office saying, like, "What happened here?" I almost lost my job. And I'm like, thank God that I have the recording of the conversation and everything. And I was able to say, "Listen, I'm actively selling my car. And I've talked to a lot of people. They know I'm a banker. And I thought, because this guy is using financing, that the credit union sent the check directly. I thought that this guy was gone already." So there's a ton of stories like that.
What's one that has happened as you've been CEO over at Greystone Investments Group?
Wow.
It can be anything. It doesn't have to be.
Right now, I should keep this confidential, but okay. Right now, we have a tenant that is not the person that they say that they are, but they've been paying on time. So when we told the landlord, listen, this person stole the identity of somebody else, the landlord said, but she's been paying on time. Yep. What do you want us to do with it? Nothing. Let her pay on time. But what we learned from this, you know how we learned it was a fake ID? Because it was Maria, it was a different name with the same ID of somebody else that had already applied for another property. So it's like, wait a second, she looks, there must be twins. It's the same person. So there's people out there selling IDs and social security numbers to tenants that cannot otherwise get approved. And they're using this information to get approved. We were very lucky that this person had good intentions. They just couldn't, and they're paid on time. But that's happening a lot. And people taking our addresses, putting them in Craigslist, and renting it to some Joe. And then when we actually rented to the legit tenant, the property is occupied. And now we have a legal situation. Now we feel awful for this other person, but we need to evict them, and that person lose all their money.
Whew. It's hard.
Because think about it, you pretend to be a tenant, and you say, "Can I look at the property?" And if it's self-showing, you ask us, "What is the code?" But in reality, you're actually showing it to somebody else, or you keep the keys, and then you show it the next day. So I could tell you, I mean, 1,000 different stories. I had somebody, I bought a property through foreclosure, and the next day was burned down. Yes.
What do you do? So, what do you do when something like that happens?
So check this out. Typically, even if you were insured, because it happened within 24 hours, the insurance company has the option of declining it and not, yes, yes. So what happened is the neighbor was the brother, and the owner was mad that the bank repo the property, that the bank took the property, and sold it to me. So he started a fire at the living room. And check this out. The house didn't burn down completely. He just made probably like $20,000 in damages.
Okay.
And I feel so bad. I remember I was in New York, I almost faded, and I was like, holy crap. Came back to Tampa, and I told my investor, don't worry about it. We're going to cover, if you cover 10,000 of the repairs, we cover 10. Don't worry about it. Just think of, you're down 10K. We're going to recuperate it with cash flow. Guess what? We fixed the whole thing. He burned it down again. This time, completely down. He put gas throughout the whole attic, lit it completely. The client lost. Well, I mean, back then the properties were a lot cheaper, so he paid like $50,000 for that property, but he lost like $30,000 back in 2009 or something like that.
When you have a client experience like that, and it's not your fault, obviously,
Yeah.
how do you bounce back that sort of relationship?
I'm gonna be very honest with you. I didn't. He was burned, and he had done like 5 deals with me perfectly, and he has made money in all the other deals perfectly. But that spooked him, where he's like, I don't want to do it anymore. We were able to sell the lot, and recoup some of his money. And I told him, hey, on the next deal, we'll take off this much. But I'm very transparent. He didn't want to deal with real estate anymore after that.
That is fair on his half. Like I understand. Did insurance cover the second fire at all? Since it
No,
had theoretically been past the 24
no,
hours or no?
no, because what happened is when the first fire happened within 24 hours, they let the policy lapse. They didn't take the premium. And then when that happened, when we're trying to get a new premium, a new insurance, they're like, no, there's a fire happened. I see the fire marshal here. Until it's fixed. We fix it, but we weren't fast enough. We had to fix it first. So in that transition, we lost everything.
That is
I
insane.
got like 100 stories I can tell you about a pimp
We're gonna
that
listen. At some point, we're just gonna have. Here's the thing: if you just tell stories, we can't tell like terribles, like hard, crushing, gut wrenching stories. But we're gonna figure out a mix. Like we sit down once a month, tell me stories, slice it and that's because I know you do some LinkedIn content, but the stuff where you can be you and tell stories. You're such a good storyteller. It's like you do it in writing already.
yeah,
Do
thank you.
do it on video. Have an app transcribe it, and that becomes your blog post because video. I haven't fully tested it. Performs really well on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay, got it. It does? I didn't know.
So
I'm not a LinkedIn expert. I gave up with YouTube. I mainly do written contests for SEO purposes. That's my niche. But if you help me with other stuff, we help each other.
yeah,
Yeah, I've done like 4,000 transactions, and I could write a book of nightmares. I had a pimp that had prostitutes, and he got stabbed. I mean, he stabbed his client in one of my properties, and we had to clean blood. That was in my early years. So, a whole bunch of stuff that we can
oh
talk
my
about.
gosh, I love it. Okay, you've built your team up. You have your team of investors. What's next for you?
What's next for me? I wanna. Me personally, I thought that I never wanted to have a lifestyle type of business. I thought that I was gonna build this business and sell it for millions. As I get to close to my 50s, I'm having so much fun that I might just do this for the rest of my life. But because I love helping people, so I think the next thing is where I could grow PM to have 1,000 accounts and everything is covered. All of my employees are covered. My international employees, my local employees, everybody's covered, and we could be 1,000% biased on every opinion we give every client because there's no economical pressure. I would like to be at that position where, and eventually nonprofit helping people. Absolutely. Yes.
Tell me more about the nonprofit. What's the dream?
Well, my dream would be to educate youth on basic financial stuff from like balancing a checkbook to because we do awful in US, awful. I have 3 kids that I begged them to go to school, and I said, I don't know what you're gonna do with the degree. I cannot promise you you're gonna have a good job, but I want you to focus on the areas that are gonna help you personally figure out your finances early. You need to know how to use a credit card. You need to know how to use your credit. You need to know how to balance your checking account. All of those things. And that's what we do through the Property Profit Academy. Right now, we're giving 100 free memberships worth $1,000, where I go from the basics of understanding how to get started into real estate investing, to how to fix your credit, to different strategies, more advanced strategies. But yeah, I would like to help. I think that rather than giving money, if I could put more towards my academy and bring more youth, that would be amazing.
I love it. So here's my second to last question for you. What is the question that you wish people would ask you more often?
Why do you think that I don't invest in real estate? What's stopping me? What do you think is stopping me from investing in real estate? And for me and that person to have a really honest conversation about what really is it. Because the problem is there's a high risk of not doing anything, that then a higher risk of failing a couple of times in your lifetime and picking up yourself again and investing again. Trust me, I've had burned houses, I've had murders, I almost went bankrupt. And look, because it's all about the more you do it, the more of an expert you become. So I often ask myself why not more people are doing it, and it's a psychological thing. It's nothing real. Fear is always there no matter what.
Ooh, I love that. When you're at a dinner party, what is the story that you like to tell that you go back to all of the time?
That's a really good question. I say, listen, I didn't know any English. I remember when I was in high school here, I didn't even know how to say, hey, may I excuse to use the restroom? I didn't know nothing about the country. Of course, Puerto Rico is part of U.S., but it's pretty foreign too. I didn't know anything. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. None of that. And I did it. So I just tell people, if I did it, my friend, anybody can freaking do it. So it's just one step at a time. The domino effect. Let me start with a small domino, then another bigger domino, and a bigger domino, through either house hacking, where you live on your own investment property, or through the bird, where you buy one, cash out, and buy the next. You become your own bank. But anybody can do it. So that's the story I say. Like, if I did it, my friend, you speak better than me. You have better. You present yourself better than me. You speak better English than me. I mean, if I did it, anybody can do it. And that's the conversation I have with people to try to get them excited to get going.
I love it. George, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show today. If people want to connect with you further, if they want to learn more about investing with you guys, what's the best way for them to connect, and what should their next steps look like?
So the best way is, remember, we're in Tampa. So Investing Tampa or Tampa Investing, we're the number one in Google, number one in the world, GreystoneIG.com. So if you Google Tampa Investing, we're going to, and by the way, we don't invest just in Tampa, we invest in the entire state, but that's where the home office is. So if you type that, you're going to get us. And then I'm super available, because all I do, Ali, is meet people. I leave the team, do everything else. So I'm consulting, advising, and meeting people every day, and I love it. Doesn't matter if you have $10 or 10 trillion. Give me a call, set up a time, and we could talk.
I love it. So for everyone tuning in today, thank you so much for joining us. And remember that if you are looking for the perfect fit marketing agency, you can schedule a free strategy session over at perrysonnetwork.com. We will catch you on the next episode of Humans of Growth.
Thank you.